Hello everybody, here is Liprandi, and this is another Transformers toy review. This time we talk about Transformers Armada Sideways, which is quite an unusual Transformer, quite an unusual toy. First of all, he is from the Armada toy line, which means that it's got the minicon gimmick with the minicon figure, the minicon ports, and the minicon action figure. Then he is also a netmaster, which means one of those guys. That's an headmaster, which means that you have the body of the robot and a separate figure to form his head. We'll see more about that later. And he also is some kind of a double dealer. I don't really know much about this character in the Armada cartoon. I know he was the herald of Unicron, which we'll maybe see in another review. But aside from that, I don't know much. Anyway, another unusual thing about this figure is that it comes with a driver, a biker figure to ride onto the motorcycle. As a size comparison, we can see he is about the deluxe class of the time. Here he is next to the Optimus Prime of this class, Bendy Prime as is known. Or, if you want, next to a more recent figure, which is Drift from the Transformers Robots in Disguise line. And guys, there is a difference here. Aside from the size, the weight of the figure and the feel you have holding it is a whole different story. This guy is much heavier, much bulkier, and much more complex in construction. But anyway, we can take off the biker from the seat. He plugs onto the seat via this square peg under his crotch and those square holes onto the seat of the cycle. We can see the biker, which looks weird on its own, is some kind of a mixture between a man, a robot I would say, and a lizard maybe. It looks like he's got lizard skin on his arms. But we can split the figure in half and transform them to find out that he really was the combination of two different minicons. Here is one called Crosswise, and here's the other one. Push his head up. Oh, come on, okay? Called Rook. And they both have weird features to them. First of all, Crosswise, which is a Decepticon, and he was the bad luck bringer of the Decepticon. If you meet this guy, cross the street and walk to the other sidewalk, because this guy brings bad luck. Anyway, take him inside, and we have here Rook, which is an Autobot, oddly, because this is a Decepticon, this is an Autobot. And Rook is currently featured in the Transformers Combined Wars toy line as a full deluxe class figure. Here you can see the older Rook next to his newer self. Anyway, enough with the comparison. We can take one of the minicons and unleash the power of Sideways. Of course, on Sideways you have several minicon ports. Some do nothing, like these ones. Some do actually unlock an action feature, like those gray ones on both sides. And you can see on the sides of the motorcycle are really bulky motorcycles, so bulky that it can stand on its own, even without having a natural kickstand. We have exhaust flames coming out of the sides of the vehicle. We can plug the minicon onto those ports. I know I will be clumsy, I already tried this about 100 times, but let's try. And push the minicon forward to shoot out the flame. Well, this didn't go that well. Let's try and have better luck with the second one. I told you, this guy brings bad luck. As a fact, not just as a feature of the character in the comic and cartoon. push it forward and it shoots out the missile, which is cool. Now, free from the exhausts, we can start transforming sideways into a robot. We will start by pulling up the front of the motorcycle like so, rotating 180 degrees and folding it down onto the gas tank of the cycle itself. Then we can split the bottom part of the vehicle like so and bend the sides at this second joint. They will then peg onto the front of the cycle on those clear pegs, which always scares me a little bit. You know, clear plastic isn't really known for being sturdy. But I have also to say that I never had any issues with this figure. It feels sturdy, you're not afraid of breaking anything. Rotate the sides to form the forearms of the robot. Take the underside of the motorcycle, rotate it 90 degrees and fold it up to form some kind of a backpack to the figure. I can now adjust the camera because it's getting taller and otherwise you won't see the head of the robot. Anyway, take the rear end of the motorcycle, extend it all the way down, split the seat to form legs, rotate the halves of the seat down, click this little dent here and push the feet in line underneath the leg. And do the same thing on the other side to complete his left leg. Come on, there you go. And here we have a headless robot. And he's already out of the picture. Okay, we can now pull out the head of the robot to reveal sideways face. And here is a clumsy looking robot. Almost as clumsy as I was during this review. And you can see it looks weird. It's got weird proportions. Here's a full 360 of him. He's got some skibble, but not too much, I have to say. He also got some articulation because the Armada line was starting to introduce more articulation into the figures than what we've seen with the G1 and G2 toy lines. So we can move his arms forward and back, in and out, but they are on very stiff ratchets. You can rotate at the elbows and bend the fists up for no reason because this joint is not there for transformation. We can then move his legs forward, back, in and out, or all on nice ratchets, but that's about it. You cannot move the knees, you cannot move the feet of the figure, and you can also not turn his head. Again, as an Armada figure, we can still stick the missiles into these forearms and use the minicon gimmick to shoot them out. But now we get to the more interesting part of sideways. Because I've told you he is a headmaster and I've told you he is some kind of a double dealer. And that's because, as you can see, there are no faction symbols on him. You cannot tell if this guy is an Autobot or a Decepticon. You cannot see if this guy is a good guy or a bad guy. To reveal his actual faction, we need to use the headmaster gimmick and his minicons. So let's push his head back into his body and fold the handlebars back like so. We can now take one of the minicons. Let's start with crosswise, the Decepticon one. Fold his arms up like so. Push his legs to the sides to form some kind of weird horns. Rotate it and push up this panel to reveal eyes. And this is a weird looking but still a head that we can plug into the main body of the robot. And let's do it. Come on, all the way down. And you can see now with the head on his body, he's revealed his true colors. you can see he's got a Decepticon symbol in the middle of his chest. He's maybe a little bit out of focus, but you can see it. He is clearly a Decepticon. Now his symbol is fully visible. Take off this head though, and something strange happens. He is now again without a symbol on his chest, but we can take a look, do the same thing, transforming him into a robot's head with weird horns to the sides, really weird looking robot's heads. Now these legs on those minicons are very well articulated, so you can bend those horns however you want. You cannot pull them off anyway. Push up this panel to reveal eyes, red eyes, unusual for an Autobot, but anyway. Plug it into the main body. Come on, get it down. Okay, it's sometimes hard to stick the head onto the body, but it worked. And you can see, if I can focus, an Autobot symbol in the middle of his chest. There you go. You can see, now he is a good guy. This is sideways as an Autobot, and this is a weird gimmick. I know this double faction gimmick has been on a few Transformers over the years, and this is the only one I have and one of the most interesting. Now, that's it for this review. I can say this is not a really cool figure, not a really enjoyable toy, because it's weird looking. It doesn't look as cool as a kid would want, and it's really heavy with gimmicks, which are fun, but maybe a little bit too much on this one. But as a collector, this is a very interesting figure to have. Ciao!